Let's see just how ruthless this woman can be with herself, all for the sake of fame and those precious clicks. Let's take a look at how the movie No Me Sigas defines risking it all for clout. The story kicks off in a notorious haunted apartment, a place that has seen multiple accidental passing-aways over the last 50 years. Seeking exposure, an exploration blogger named Carla takes the risk and moves right in. She immediately installs a ton of cameras, hoping to rake in traffic by recording supernatural events. She even deliberately decorates the room with spooky props, hoping to create a better atmosphere for her videos. But after struggling for several days, she realizes she still only has about 3,000 followers. Out of options, Carla turns to her bestie Sam, who is already a beauty influencer with millions of subs, for advice. Sam points out that Carla's content is too plain and needs some spicier elements added to the story. But just as they are speaking, Sam, who lives alone, hears a noise coming from her living room. Carla assumes it's just the dog making noise and doesn't think much of it, simply opening the door to check. She doesn't realize that shortly after she leaves, the dog that heard the call crawls out from under the bed. Carla finds nothing unusual and quickly returns to the room, but Sam is still a bit worried. Sam says she will come over to visit in the next couple of days and help plan some video content. Neither of them knows that the strange events in the apartment are just beginning. Soon, after hanging up the phone, Carla hears a noise upstairs, a sound so loud it shakes the chandelier. At that moment, the power trips in the house, so she grabs her camera to go out and shoot some footage. The dim corridor is completely silent. Thinking of Sam's advice, Carla tries out some horror movie camera movements, pretending there's someone in the darkness of the lens. After recording and walking upstairs, Carla excitedly discovers she doesn't need to fake the mystery anymore. The room directly above her was the site of a fire where someone passed away, and the door has been completely sealed with boards and chains. Right now, strange noises are coming from inside that room. Carla says it's strange, but in reality, she doesn't care much, assuming it's just rats making the noise. She even invites her new boyfriend over for some memorable haunted house intimacy. But while relaxing after their passion, they accidentally notice a stain on the ceiling directly above the bed. Although it's likely just mold caused by dampness, Andres is worried that this old building is in disrepair and the ceiling might collapse on them while they sleep. But this unintentional comment gives Carla some creative inspiration. Soon, her next video starts to pick up some traction. It's still the footage she casually shot yesterday, but this time, the content isn't so plain. It turns out Carla's method was to use AI to spice up the content, attempting to artificially fake paranormal phenomena. This video quickly rushes into the top 5 of the horror category. Tasting success, she is incredibly excited and rushes to tell her boyfriend the good news, but he never replies to her messages. A few days later, Sam comes to visit and mentions that she heard Andres might be a playboy. Sam mentions that Andres' social media profile picture is still a photo with an older woman. Carla relaxes and explains that it's Andres' mother. She explains that because his mother is seriously ill, he hasn't changed the photo out of filial piety, which he had explained to her before. Sam stops suspecting him, mainly because she has more important things to do here, which is helping Carla make her videos more attractive.
Ese es tu brand, güey. Tiene que dar más miedo. O sea, sí, pero no puedo controlar la actividad paranormal. ¿Cómo no?
Sam uses her experience to carefully design a weird divination session for Carla, and she even appears on camera to help. In reality, the effect of hair appearing to be pulled by an evil spirit was just designed in advance with props. This extremely realistic-looking summoning ritual makes Carla's account break 10,000 followers instantly. She hurriedly records a video to express her gratitude. Unexpectedly, this simple video quickly receives more replies than ever before. Confused, Carla picks up her phone and finds that the comments all say they saw someone behind her. She quickly digs out the video to check carefully and actually sees a dark shadow flash by. She quickly takes a screenshot of the scene, adjusts the exposure and brightness, and sees a hair-raising sight. Carla is so scared she jumps up to look, but after checking carefully, she finds nothing unusual. This eerie video, which has no traces of acting, easily doubles the account's follower count. The feeling of going viral makes Carla unable to stop, and ultimately, greed conquers fear. She deceives herself by hinting it's just a coincidence, then immediately buys an infrared camera. She claims that infrared waves can penetrate even plastic bags, so they can definitely observe things invisible to the naked eye. After saying this, she demonstrates it to the camera. The sudden situation that appears again makes Carla go viral on the internet rapidly. At the same time, a large number of debunkers appear, questioning the authenticity of the video. Even Sam praises her improvement recently and says she wants to come up with a good idea and visit in a few days to shoot. But hearing this makes Carla even more terrified, because only she knows clearly that it was absolutely a real, supernatural event. Now Carla is like a frightened bird, constantly feeling like something is watching her from all around. At this moment, she wishes she had a companion by her side. Unfortunately, due to the nature of her work, Carla's social circle is very narrow, and she has very few like-minded friends around. With no one to help, she has to go online to find answers. But the various exaggerated analyses online make the already frightened Carla even more terrified. She even starts to have the illusion that the stain on the ceiling looks like a human face. Fortunately, at this moment, Andres, who has been missing for a long time, finally appears. It turns out his mother passed away recently, and he has been busy arranging the funeral, which is why he didn't reply in time. Upon hearing what happened to Carla, he doesn't doubt it at all, chooses to believe her directly, and goes over the next day to keep her company while they investigate. With her boyfriend's company, Carla boldly finds the apartment manager and opens the locked door upstairs. Aside from retaining traces of being destroyed by the fire, they don't find anything else unusual inside. But just as they are about to leave, Carla finds a damaged videotape, and weirdly enough, it has various strange symbols drawn on it. They immediately take it back to study it. After searching online, they discover this is the totem of some ancient cult, filled with wizards who use witchcraft. Seeing this, Andres thinks his girlfriend is just creating show effects. Under her boyfriend's comfort, Carla gradually relaxes. But while surfing the internet late at night, she sees a photo of Andres and Sam together on someone else's social media from a few days ago. But Andres clearly stated he was busy with funeral affairs recently. Thinking of this, Carla frantically searches through everything. She discovers that this person, while filming a video, unintentionally recorded Andres and Sam in the background. Although the environment is too noisy to hear their conversation, their intimate behavior clearly goes beyond that of ordinary friends. Carla never expected to be betrayed by the people closest to her, which makes her heart ache with pain. But thinking of the gap between herself and Sam, Carla holds back her disgust and acts as if nothing happened, asking Sam to help record the show.
Es una spirit box. La vamos a usar para hablar.
They first pretend to ask a few questions, then play the prepared music. Soon, bursts of sinister laughter come from the noisy radio. But after recording, Sam feels the effect is too flat and says they need to try asking some explosive questions. Hearing this, Carla can no longer hold back. She interrupts the recording and lays her cards on the table, questioning the relationship between Sam and Andres. But Sam says she misunderstood, explaining that Andres' mother passed away that day and he was in a heavy mood, so she simply went over to comfort him after hearing the news, and it wasn't what Carla thought at all. But Carla doesn't believe it at all. Sam, whose patience is limited, can't suppress her anger, and their words become increasingly intense during the argument. But neither of them notices that the dog is barking incessantly at the utility room, and soon a noise comes from there. Sam thinks Carla is creating show effects again, curses angrily, and turns to leave directly. At this moment, Carla doesn't care to keep Sam. She hurriedly picks up the camera to go check. Although there is nothing unusual here except for clutter, after careful inspection, Carla finds a few lines of dialogue symbols on the wall. The number of lines happens to match the number of questions they asked during the summoning ritual earlier. Even more terrifying are the last two questions Sam asked. Soon, this video sparks heated discussion again, but it also attracts more doubts from haters. The frequent occurrence of strange events makes Carla feel increasingly uneasy, and she discovers that besides the ceiling corroding more severely, the stain seems to look more and more like a human face. Just as she is lying on the bed filming, pus drips down from above. But just as she prepares to clean up, she suddenly realizes the dog is missing, and she can't find it no matter where she looks. Just as Carla plans to post a missing dog notice, she faintly smells a fishy stench in the room. She subconsciously picks up the camera and follows the smell. Finally, she discovers the poor dog has met a tragic end inside the microwave. Learning of this, Andres rushes over immediately. Carla doesn't know if the dog crawled into the microwave by mistake or was stuffed in by some supernatural force. But now she isn't thinking about that, because there is something more important to clarify.
Está saliendo con alguien más.
¿Qué?
After confirming with Andres again, Carla finally realizes she misunderstood him and Sam. Seeing her boyfriend sad again at the mention of his mother, Carla feels even more guilty and can't help but kiss him. But at this very moment, Andres suddenly spots the camera in the corner. Andres doesn't believe her words, thinking he has become just another part of Carla's show effects, and leaves angrily. Now, she is completely isolated and helpless. But the eerie events don't stop there. Soon, late at night, Carla hears noise from the living room again. After thinking for a while, she decides to investigate. She turns on the computer connected to the cameras and checks the rooms one by one. But the next second, Carla turns her head in fright, but there is nothing by the sofa. She quickly checks the monitor, but the figure has already disappeared. Carla can only stare nervously at the screen while carefully backing up to the camera, then holding it to slowly scan the surroundings. Soon, she spots that figure again. This time, Carla boldly chases after it, seeing the figure standing with its back to her in the bedroom. But before Carla can react, when Carla works up the courage to investigate again, the entity has vanished without a trace. Thanks to this video, she goes completely viral, and her follower count skyrockets to 100,000. At this moment, Carla feels both excitement and fear. She knows there is definitely a problem here, but she is afraid of losing traffic if she leaves. While she is hesitating, she discovers something new and strange in her home. Many hidden corners of the house are drawn with symbols similar to those on the videotape box. This time, she decides to investigate seriously. She first tries to repair the videotape, then frantically searches for information online. She soon finds relevant literature. Rumor has it that this ancient cult uses black magic to achieve immortality and is said to still exist and operate in secret today. But she still doesn't understand what this has to do with the paranormal events. Just then, her phone suddenly receives a flood of abusive messages. It turns out that after their falling out, Sam completely exposed Carla's faking of paranormal events. Sam states that although she didn't participate in the later recordings, she was indeed shocked when she first saw the dog pass away, but she later discovered Carla was lying. In a voice message sent by Carla, the sound of the dog barking could actually be heard. It turns out the dog's death, the plastic bag over the head, and the spirit replies on the wall were all show effects created by Carla herself to grab eyeballs and scam traffic. No wonder she refused to leave this haunted apartment all along, and Andres reacted so strongly when he saw the camera because they all knew everything was fake. But the scariest thing is when the real is hidden within the fake. The ghost shadow captured twice by the equipment wasn't faked by Carla at all, but was a genuine supernatural event. But now, no matter how she explains, no one believes her. Followers are unsubscribing in droves, and Carla realizes her career has failed. This makes her cherish Andres' affection even more, so she hurriedly calls him to try and salvage things. Surprisingly, Andres forgives her immediately and chooses to believe her again after hearing her out. He comforts her, saying since the plan has failed, she should pack up and leave the apartment, and he is coming to pick her up right now. But just after they agree to meet in half an hour, Carla discovers something terrifying on someone else's social media again. While recording a celebration party, this person accidentally captured Andres, who was actually kissing his mother at the time. It is obvious that they are not mother and son at all. While Carla is bewildered, the videotape finishes repairing, and she quickly clicks to play it. The content describes how these cultists use witchcraft to transfer a soul into a living person's body after a companion dies, thereby seizing the host and reincarnating. Combining this with the scene of Andres kissing that old woman, Carla immediately realizes they are both cult members. The reason Andres is so young is likely because he just completed a reincarnation ritual recently. As she is pondering, pus drips from overhead again, instantly making Carla's skin crawl. Because the soul transfer scene at the end of the video feels terrifyingly familiar to her right now. Living downstairs all this time, she is just like the person below whose body is being occupied. Realizing something, Carla rushes upstairs, breaks the lock with a crowbar, and sneaks in again. Unlike the last time, she is hit by a foul stench as soon as she enters. But the room has been cleaned up, and it is brightly lit by a large number of candles. The source of the stench is a corpse lying on an altar drawn with strange symbols. The corpse is lying face down on the ground, surrounded by dried blood stains. Carla finally understands why the ceiling was corroding and why that stain looked like a human face. She works up the courage to flip the body over with the crowbar and discovers it is indeed the mother Andres spoke of. At this moment, Carla finally puts all the pieces together. That cult woman is on the verge of death and desperately needs a suitable new body for reincarnation. As her accomplice, Andres began scouting for prey, eventually setting his sights on Carla, who was desperate for fame. That recurring ghost was definitely the woman's soul spying on her, waiting for the perfect moment to hijack her body. Having figured everything out, Carla hurriedly intends to call the police. But in the next second, she suddenly remembers that she just agreed to meet up with Andres. She can only lie, claiming she just went out to shoot some footage, and tries to act calm while letting him inside. She pretends to accidentally knock over a glass of water. Then, seizing the moment during their intimacy, she launches a surprise attack on Andres. She immediately gets up and grabs her camera to make a run for it. Not because she still cares about being an influencer, but because all the evidence she captured is inside it. But before she can make it out, Andres catches up to her. Just when she thinks she has finally shaken him off, she sees Andres' accomplices waiting outside the door. Carla tries to slam the door shut, but it is already too late. She has no choice but to flee into the kitchen and grab a dining knife to fight for her life. She manages to take one down in her desperation, but before she can get back on her feet, even more cultists appear behind her. When Carla wakes up again, she finds herself tied to the bed, surrounded by a terrifying group of cultists. Andres coldly puts on a mask and begins the bizarre ritual with his companions, right in front of Carla's horrified eyes. Soon, the woman's soul appears again. But unlike before, Carla can see it without the infrared camera, and this means the entity can finally, physically harm her. As Carla's stomach is sliced open, the movie basically comes to an end. In the end, Carla finally became the massive influencer she dreamed of being, but she paid an unbearable price. This movie delivers a sharp critique of influencer culture. The core of the horror isn't just the supernatural forces, but the pathological thirst for traffic and attention. Carla was so afraid of becoming irrelevant in the vast ocean of the internet that she didn't hesitate to fake the paranormal and deceive her fans, ultimately bringing destruction upon herself. The title, No Me Sigas, carries a double meaning. It is a scream to the evil spirit haunting her, but also a satirical warning to those who follow trends, reminding them not to be swallowed whole by hollow vanity.